You probably think as a health and nutrition coach that I eat perfectly, but I don't. I am a 43-year-old mom in perimenopause. I get tired, I get busy, but I want food to be easy. But there is one simple rule that I follow that keeps my energy stable and my cravings not so loud and my belly fat down. And I call it my 30-30 rule because here's the deal. In perimenopause, our bodies become so much more sensitive to our blood sugar swings. So instead of obsessing over calories, I actually focus on two numbers. One, 30 grams of protein at every meal, and two, 30 grams of fiber across the day. And when I hit those two numbers, my brain fog lifts and the weight starts to move. So I want to show you what that looks like in real life. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about why this matters. In perimenopause, your hormones are shifting and your body doesn't handle blood sugar the way that it used to. Your blood sugar spikes and crashes, and cortisol has to jump in. And when you have more cortisol, it means more belly fat storage, more cravings, and more exhaustion. So, protein slows down how fast your sugar hits your bloodstream and it keeps you full. It stabilizes your energy and it helps you hold on to your muscle, which we need for longevity. And because muscle really helps in perimenopause to bring everything all together. So, fiber actually does the same thing. Okay, it slows down your digestion, it keeps your blood sugar steady, and it helps your body get rid of all the excess estrogen, which is all over the place right now, especially in perimenopause. And when you're getting enough fiber, it actually feeds your good gut bacteria, which is really directly impacting your mood, inflammation, and how your body processes all of these hormones. So, when you've hit 30 grams of protein per meal and 30 grams of fiber throughout the day, you're actually giving your body what it needs to function without pushing back on it. So, what does 30 grams of protein actually look like? Because I know that can sound so overwhelming or intimidating because you're like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to get 30 grams of protein? And I've got news for you. So many women think they're getting enough protein, but they're really not. So let's talk about what a couple of options could be for breakfast for to what 30 grams of protein could look like. For me, it could be a bowl of Greek yogurt, 3/4 of a cup, which is typically a serving. And that's anywhere between 15 to 20 grams of protein, depending on your brand. And then if you add a scoop of protein powder, a clean protein powder mixed in, that can be another 20 grams. Well, boom, you've already hit over 30 grams of protein just with those two things right there. But, you know, I also have been known to make some hard-boiled eggs on the weekend or, and if I have two of those, that's about 12 grams of protein for two eggs. And then if I have some turkey sausage or some chicken sausage, I can usually get to another 10 to 15 grams right there. So again, that's a really quick way to get to 25 to 30 grams of protein easily. Lunch could be very, simple with a bag of salad, prepped with grilled chicken. I typically will make my protein over the weekend so that way I have enough protein prepped and I don't run out of ways to get my protein. And so chicken can be 25 grams to 30 grams of protein right there. Or you could do like a big batch of taco meat and you could grab like with ground turkey or ground beef and some beans and some black beans. My kids love black beans, so we have them in the house quite often. But again, super easy ways to hit your protein. So dinner is very similar. We keep it really easy in our house because we're running around all the time to all sorts of different sports practices. And to be honest, I don't have time to cook a crazy meal most nights. And so we usually do some kind of protein. So chicken or some sort of fish or ground turkey. And we'll make it with some roasted veggies or maybe a sweet potato or some rice. But the big key here is I'm not reinventing the wheel every single meal. Okay. I'm using the same proteins throughout the week. Okay. So if I'm already making chicken on Sunday, I'm going to make a bunch more so that way I have it throughout the week to use in salads or tacos or any sort of breakfast scramble. And if I'm really in a pinch, I keep some backup options like in my brain. So I can always run to the store and grab a rotisserie chicken. I always keep canned beans on hand and I always make a batch of hard-boiled eggs. And I keep just ingredients protein in my house at all times because if you've watched any of my other videos, you also know that I love a good protein latte. And look, here's the thing that so many women get so stuck on is that you get in this thought of like, you're hitting this number all the time. But once you understand what that number looks like and how to get that 30 grams of protein, it doesn't become so intimidating. And this is what I talk through with all of the women in my collective because they are focused on all of these things and we teach them how to do this through the easy plate. So again, doesn't have to be fancy, but it just does have to be functional for what your life looks like. But I want to talk a little bit about fiber here because protein really got a big influx last year and everybody was like protein, protein, protein. And you can go back and you can watch my video on the 5 proteins to stop eating because I think that there's so much marketing out there right now. And we need to understand what's going into our food and if it's a protein that actually matters. So you can watch that video too. But fiber is something that is going to be talked about a lot this year. And here's the thing, you need to probably get closer to 30 grams of fiber throughout the day. Okay. And you don't have to eat 7 servings of broccoli to get there. So I add fiber rich foods throughout the day without thinking about it. One of the best ways that I do this is through berries. And raspberries are one of the best ways to get fiber into your breakfast. There are about 8 or 9 grams of fiber in a cup of raspberries. And so that's a lot right there to start your morning. Also, vegetables, like just finding ways to add more vegetables. And this is what I talk about in my easy plate. And that's adding color, right? Because when you add color, you're adding fiber. And so maybe you're adding some beans or some chickpeas, a great way to get both fiber and protein. And then that's another, few grams here and there. And so it all adds up throughout the day. But if you're not focused on it and you're focused on a very beige diet, like I call it, then you're not getting the fiber that you need. When you are focused on adding the color, getting all the vegetables and the fruit, you're going to naturally really start to add all of the fiber that you need. So you could add as a snack an apple with almond butter because you don't want to eat your carbs naked, or some carrots and hummus, right? And that's going to give you a few grams of fiber. Plus, if you have for dinner, if you have some roasted vegetables, some broccoli or Brussels sprouts or sweet potatoes, that's another 8 to 10 grams of fiber too. So by the end of the day, I'm typically over 30 grams without obsessing over it. Okay. The biggest thing, the misconception that I want you to understand is I'm not taking out carbs. I'm choosing more fiber rich carbs. Okay. So I'm picking sweet potatoes instead of white potatoes. I'm picking berries instead of a muffin. I'm adding beans to my taco. I'm adding veggies with pretty much every meal. So it's more of an add and don't subtract approach. And when you're consistently doing this, then you're going to notice a few things. You're going to notice that your digestion gets easier. You don't have as much bloating, stays more consistent, and your body is going to start letting go of that weight because you're able to flush out more things with fiber. Another thing that I use a lot is chia seeds or basil seeds, and those 2 things alone also have a good amount of fiber in them. And I typically will make some sort of chia seed pudding so that I'm getting fiber in the morning for breakfast, especially when I'm running late or if I have a lot of meetings. And that way, I already have it prepped and ready to go. And look, do I cook fresh for every single meal? No, I don't. And that's a big thing that so many influencers make it to be like, you're cooking all of these wonderful things. And then moms are like, I don't have time for that. I am running around to 10 different sports games on the weekends and I've got work and meetings and I get home and I'm exhausted. But what I will tell you is that when you're already cooking something, you add to it, right? So on the weekend, if I am making chicken for dinner, I am going to make more chicken. I'm just going to add more to it. And then the same thing with eggs. Or I will just boil a whole dozen hard-boiled eggs. That does not take me more than like 10 or 15 minutes while I'm grilling chicken or chopping some veggies. Okay. And then I will go ahead and prep my breakfast. So that might look like a couple of chia seed puddings or a couple of overnight oats. And then that way, when I'm rushed and I'm tired, which is a lot because, like I said, I have 3 kids, I'm not scrambling to figure it all out, right? I'm already grabbing what's there. So I keep things on hand that can go into a lot of things. Same with frozen veggies. A lot of times frozen veggies get a bad rap, but I do keep them because I want to be able to roast them really quickly. I can throw them into my Ninja Crispy and make them crispy and roast them in a few minutes, and that helps. And I also told you, like, I keep protein powder on hand, not just for smoothies, but for my protein lattes or for my overnight oats or chia seed pudding. And the thing is it's not about making everything perfect, but it's about having easy options so that you're not standing at the pantry in the afternoon eating crackers because you're too tired to make a real meal. So when you follow this 30/30 rule, you're not actually adding more work to your day, but you are being intentional about what you're already eating. So this is exactly what we focus on inside of Real Food Made Easy, the collective, because I want you to build the actual skills so that you know what to do on a crazy day when you've got so many things, but you really, really want to make a healthy lifestyle work. So we're building simple, repeatable habits that you can actually stick to on your busiest days. And every month we're focusing on one shift, like how to hit your protein targets or how to actually make an easy plate without it being so hard. Okay. Or, adding fiber without feeling like you are just eating cardboard all the time. We're doing 2-week challenges to put it into practice, and we troubleshoot all of this together on live calls. So it's really not about being perfect. It's about making things work in your life with your schedule, your family, and your food preferences, because that's what it's all about. It's not about all of the meal plans and the 6-week resets and all of these things. It's about how to make these actual skills work for you. So you can find out more about the collective below. So listen, if you're in perimenopause and you are just tired of all of the complicated nutrition advice that just doesn't fit where you're at in life right now, start with the 30/30 rule. 30 grams of protein per meal and 30 grams of fiber throughout the day, because that is a huge foundation. And if you want help figuring out exactly what to eat to hit those targets without spending hours in the kitchen, I put together a free guide called Mom's Protein Packed Meals, and it's got simple real life meal ideas with protein that's pretty much already done for you. So I want you to go grab that. The link is in the description. And I want you to tell me in the comments, what is your easy protein right now? And if you are curious about what proteins you shouldn't be eating right now, you can go and watch this video right here.